The first algorithm we're going to look at is N, or the noise synthesis algorithm. This was inspired by an early piece of computer music, ironically called Analog 1 Noise Study, created by James Tenney back in 1961. So let's go ahead and take the noise output from tELHARMONIC. I'm running it through the data so you can see what its waveform looks like. And for reference, I am running it through an amplifying mixer. I find that the output of tELHARMONIC's just a little bit on the low side. They have to be conservative because two of the algorithms have 3 notes and they can add together to be quite loud. That means a lot of the times they're quite soft. So I boost it just a little bit using a channel on my Levitate. This comes into the external audio input on the Mother 32, and then I control which sound I'm hearing with the mix control on the Mother. If I want to just create a drone where I hear it all the time, I turn on the VCA. It's the equivalent of turning up level controls in normal VCAs. The noise algorithm is 2 noise sources spaced around what note you play on the keyboard. And again, that can be offset using the degree control on the tELHARMONIC. Interval has no meaning in this algorithm since there's only 1 noise voice, not 3 like the other voices. Centroid has no meaning. Your main control here is flux, which is how wide those noise poles are spread apart from your center frequency. You can go quite broadband, where there's almost no difference in what note you play, to quite narrow where it's almost a sine. Lovely haunting tone there. And of course you can go somewhere in between. Obviously that's a great parameter to modulate. For example, I can go ahead and patch the mod wheel from my controller, which comes up on jack number 5 on my FH1. That's the way I programmed it. Take that to the flux control, and now this is an attenuator. So I'm going to take the full range. So I can have a lot of fun performing that. I can also mix it in with a normal voice from the Moog. So let's go ahead and switch on the VCA mode, bring in some of its oscillator, maybe narrow down to just that halting tone. A bit of modulation perhaps. Take the VCA out of drone mode. Maybe soften up the attack. Play around with the offset. And maybe a little bit of filter envelope. You can also use this just as a noise source and patch it through a low-pass gate or through an envelope filter. Let's go just to listen to the tELHARMONIC. Go to broadband noise, or let's just go ahead and take that out of the patch altogether. So I can go ahead and use the flux control again. Sharpen up the attack. No sustain. A little bit of filter envelope coming from this ADSR. Maybe some resonance. You know how quiet it is, let's bump it up in level. I think that would work better if I could also envelope the flux amount. Let's go ahead and turn this back up for now. I went to a more simple tone as notes died away. Now unfortunately, flux works backwards from the way that I honestly expect it to. Normally I'd expect the minimum control to be the purest, and then the maximum control to be the most broadband or noisiest. But that's not the way this control works. That means I'm going to need to invert it. I can either get an envelope generator that has an inverting output on it, or use a utility mixer to go ahead and invert and offset the voltage as needed. So let's go through that exercise quickly. Not all envelope generators have an inverted output, so I'm going to go ahead and just use the normal output just to show you what you have to do here. I'm going to take it up to a channel on my erogenous tones Levitate. Nice utility mixer here. And bring it to Flux. Now this is an attenuator. I'm going to crank that up so I do all my adjusting over in the mixer. I'm going to get the filter out of the way for now. So here's the normal envelope. Here it has a backward effect, which does have its uses. But I want an inverted effect, so I'm going to invert that input. And it has no effect because it's just negative voltages, and Flux only takes positive voltages. So in the case of the levitate, I'm going to take another one of its controls, and it's banks of 4. And with nothing plugged in, these become bias voltages. You'll see that's common on a lot of utility mixers. I'm going to add in some bias voltage, positive of course, so I get the envelope I want. Slow that down. Maybe take it on the sustain level. Vary to a pure tone here. Here we go. Take the sustain off. Even add in some filter if I want to. Now again, unfortunately, Flux isn't that fast in its response. So I don't get a real snappy attack. I do get kind of a cool rubbery attack. So that's the noise synthesis algorithm on tELHARMONIC. You can use it as pitch noise, you can layer it with an oscillator, you can use it for noise percussion.